Hi, on Talk Graphics recently, as Jimeno recently asked, he started a new page, the first one of my new website to be. It's just a default Xara page. I also made a layer. At the moment it's impossible to import anything anymore in the main page. All now goes to layer games, and that is not okay. Any tip? And he supplies this screen grab. He hasn't actually got two selections, it's just that top selector there is indicating that the index page is selected, and this selector here is indicating that the games layer is selected. So the top one, the blue band, indicates that the index page, which is the only page I think on this site that he's got, and this one here indicates that the games layer is selected, but it's not blue at the moment. It hasn't got a blue, so he's actually selecting the page and not the layer. So I'll close that and I'll knock that back, and here we are. I've just made a file new 960 pixel page, and at the moment I'm zoomed out to 50%, so you can see that that's the web page. Not really interested in this bit. What I want to show is the page and layer gallery, and as you can see we're in index. That is highlighted as blue. I've put a second page on here. If I click on the second page, you can see that now gets a blue surround, and the mouse off layer is also selected here. So I'll go back to the index layer. This time I'm going to select the mouse off layer. Notice that the mouse off layer is selected, and it also shows this blue highlight. So when it's clicked on the page, you get all these new page options up here. When you click on the layers, you get new layers options. So there's new page and properties and everything else of the page, and then when you click on the layer, you get new layers selected. And one of the things he had, and I'll just go into this one here, is he said that he'd created a new layer, and there's only one way of creating a new layer, and that's to to make sure you're not on the page but in the layers. In the mouse off layer here, if I click on new layer, the new layer is always comes to the top. I often wish that Xara, if you were in that layer there and just selected new layer, would pop up one above it, but it doesn't. It always puts it right to the top of the pile. So even if I go down to the pasteboard background and put new layer, it still comes to the top of the stack. I'll just delete that for the time being. Right, and the other problem that I said it had is, for somehow, accidentally, no doubt, is the layer that it had was between the mouse off and the mouse over layer. I'll just undo that for a minute. And if we go into test this site, you can see that rollover works as expected. That's what you'd want it to do. But if you move, and to move layers, you just select them, left click and hold your left click button down, mouse button down, and move it down. You can see it changes from a little no-go icon. You can then drop it between the two, and there it is between the two. And the other thing I suggested is that is not a good idea to put layers between the mouse off and the mouse over, because if you do use rollovers, if we now preview it this time, the rollover test button indicates that there's a link, but the actual rollover doesn't work. shut that down. Move that back up to the top. Just drag and select it, move it up to the top like that. Test it again, so it's not between the mouse off and the mouse overlayer. And that works fine. Anyway, I hope that helped him understand the page and layers gallery. It's not difficult once you get used to it. Anyway, this is Egg. All the best. Cheery bye.